What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, we know we got a new Speaker of the House. Not a new one, I should say, but, a new Speaker of the House. Mike Johnson got voted in, that's right. So, yay, cheers for that, if you will. Yeah, blah. From over here, I don't really care for Mike Johnson all that much. That's not what we're talking about today, though. I just wanted to get that bit of news in case you haven't heard that and get that out of the way. Today, we're discussing the corporate press, as we always do, and the manipulations and just how they report differently on things and how they lie to you. We got an interesting article. Actually, it's several different articles about the corporate press lying about just all kinds of crap, right? It's funny as hell. Let's go ahead and get into this thing because what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to run several different articles and I'm going to point out the lies, and we'll go to the next one and see how they report on this story, and then we'll go to the next one, right? I finally found one that actually told the truth, and we'll finish on that one, and then we'll cover the story. But just to get this out of the way right quick, y'all smash that like button for me. If you don't mind, I would appreciate that. Subscribe if you're new around here and want to stay up to date with how you're being manipulated by the corporate press, because they manipulate everything, right? Manipulate all that stuff. But let's go ahead and get into this thing right quick. Got this from NPR. Check this out. Trump will be sentenced January 10th in New York case days before his inauguration, right? That's a pretty decent headline, if you will. But they, here we go, y'all. President-elect Donald Trump is scheduled to be sentenced January 10th in New York, 10 days before he is sworn in to be President of the United States. In a decision Friday, New York Judge Juan Merchan noted that his inclination was to not impose a sentence of incarceration. In the filing, Merchan noted that if a sentence was unable to be given before Trump took the oath of office, the only other viable option may be to postpone proceedings until after Trump's presidential term is over. In May, Trump was found guilty of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records, officially labeling him a convicted felon. The decision comes after Merchan ruled last month Trump is not immune from a conviction in the case. That is yet to be decided, so that is an outright lie, right? Like, we still have appeals courts, but, they said officially, he's now officially a convicted felon. That's not true. That is not true at all. We know this to be fact, because you're not officially a convicted felon until you are sentenced. So once he gets his sentencing, then he's a convicted felon. But he is currently not a convicted felon. That's just a little white lie, if you will. But let's see what CNN has to say. Oh, CNN, the bastion of news, right? The most trusted source in news. Let's see what they say, right? Y'all remember that last headline? Oh, he's going to be sentenced. Check this out. New York judge says Trump will face no penalties in his criminal hush money case, but upholds conviction. This is insane, y'all. This is just an outright lie. President-elect Donald Trump will face no legal penalties for his conviction in the hush money case, a New York judge ruled Friday. Judge Juan Merchan, however, upheld Trump's conviction in the case, rejecting the president-elect's efforts to throw out the jury's verdict because of his re-election in November. That's not true. He's trying to, that's lies on several levels, right? Like, he's trying to throw that out on multiple things. That is one of them, kind of, but he's trying to get it thrown out mostly on presidential immunity and the fact that they violated his due process rights, right? Like, appeals court, y'all, like, just them outright saying, it's funny. How did they word this? Right, quick. Face no legal penalties. That's just not true at all. He's going to be sentenced on January 10th. There will be legal penalties. He's going to get a sentence. It's probably going to be a fine, probably going to be probation or something like that. Something simple, right? Just because he's not going to jail doesn't mean that there's no penalties legally, if you will. But I just can't believe CNN would just outright lie like that. And then, the other little white lies, if you will, like, oh, he's just trying to get it thrown out because he became president. Well, that's not really true. is it? He's getting it thrown out on presidential immunity. As a matter of fact, that's a Supreme Court ruling that this court should really try to think about and uphold. You know, that they're supposed to be going through. That was the immediate, right? They're supposed to have another trial, but Juan Merchan denied that outright, saying that this impacts nothing. When got this coming from NBC News. While this court, as a matter of law, must not make any determination on sentencing prior to giving the parties and defendants opportunity to be heard, it seems proper at this juncture to make known the court's inclination not to impose any sentence of incarceration, a sentence authorized by conviction, but one the people concede they no longer view as a practicable recommendation, the judge wrote in his ruling. That was kind of hard to say, practicable. Blech. Merchan said that a sentence of an unconditional discharge appears to be the most viable solution to ensure finality and allow defendant to pursue his appellate options, but he would not grant Trump's request to vacate the verdict. So we all know this is going to get overturned on appeal, right? There's way too many due process rights violation, rights. What was that the charge called? I forget it. Conspiracy against rights. Sorry, it took me a second to think about that. Like that, there's several reasons this is going to get overturned on appeal. So the fact that he decided to just ignore the Supreme Court and go through with this just blows my freaking mind, right? Like, this dude is just itching. Like, he seems to be turned on by the fact that he got to convict Donald Trump, the once former president. It's insane. Right? He's like, he seems to be turned on by that fact. Like, he's getting an outright erection over this, it seems like, right? Like, pardon my French on that, but that's what it seems like. He's like, oh, I get to convict this guy. I'm going to go through with it. Screw, judicial norms. Screw everything about our judiciary system outright. Screw it. I'm just going to violate rights all over the place, violate due process. To hell with it. I get to convict Donald Trump. Right? Like, the jury instructions were a setup for conviction. It's just insane, y'all. Here, 12 jurors unanimously found defendant guilty of 34 counts of falsifying business records with the intent to defraud, which included an intent to commit or conceal a conspiracy to promote a presidential election by unlawful means, he wrote. Trump was convicted in May on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records related to a hush money payment his then attorney, Michael Cohen, paid to adult film star Stormy Daniels in the closing days of the 2016 presidential election. It was the premeditated and continuous deception by the leader of the free world that is the gravamen of this offense, Merchan wrote. Now, that's where you're starting to get the air of he's getting turned on by this, isn't he? Oh, he got to convict the leader of the free world. Oh my God. Like, what is wrong with these people up there in New York? I don't get this, right? Like, the charge, the underlying crime that was supposedly unanimous, which I'm not buying into. We never got a clear conclusion on if the jury if the jury was unanimous on the underlying crime they convicted him on. We never got that answer, by the way, in case anybody out there was wondering that. We never got that answer, but supposedly it was, to help his chances during the election. Yeah, I don't buy that. That's a federal crime, by the way, that he was investigated for, and they found no evidence that he did anything wrong. So they convicted him upon the fact that he committed a crime in furtherance of another crime that he didn't commit. That's insane, just on its face. To vacate this verdict on the grounds that the charges are insufficiently serious given the position defendant once held and is about to assume again would constitute a disproportionate result and cause immeasurable damage to the citizenry's confidence in the rule of law, the judge added. No, you know what? That whole trial did that for you, my guy. I can promise you that, because everybody sitting at home watching this, Democrats alike, right? We had pundits, insane leftists on MSNBC saying that this trial was a sham. It should have never been brought. When you have Democrats taking up for Donald Trump, you know you have a little bit of bias going on here, right? This whole thing was absurd on its face because there was no actual connection from Donald Trump to Michael Cohen paying this. Michael Cohen, of his own volition, paid out of his own money, right? He testified. He took out a home equity loan to pay Stormy Daniels. The only connecting evidence there was a convicted perjurer who's known to lie to courts and Congress, who has a track record, if you will, and made several videos saying that he's going to do everything he can to take this guy down. And that's the guy's sole testimony that was not corroborated by anybody. And as a matter of fact, Michael Cohen's own lawyer rebutted that testimony just on its face, said, nope, he's lying about that. It's just absurd. The only connecting evidence was Michael Cohen saying that Donald Trump told him to do this. That's absurd. And his own lawyer, Michael Cohen's own lawyer, said that's not true. He said he was trying to do it to gain favor with Donald Trump. That's what he told his lawyer. That's what his lawyer told the court, under oath, by the way. So that's the only connecting evidence there. That's it. You want to say he committed the misdemeanor of falsifying business records? Go right ahead, right? That just circumstantial testimony from a convicted perjurer, by the way, if that's enough, it might be for some people. It's not enough for me, but look, I get it. You don't like Donald Trump. That shouldn't be the basis for a conviction in the court of law, by the way. But you want to say that's enough for you? Go right ahead. But to say that it was in furtherance of another crime that he can't be proven he committed is an absolute sham on its face. It's all absurd, if you ask me. All of it. Trump spokesperson Stephen Chung called the ruling a direct violation of the Supreme Court's immunity decision and other long-standing jurisprudence. This lawless case should have never been brought, and the Constitution demands that it be immediately dismissed. There should be no sentencing, and President Trump will continue fighting against these hoaxes until they are all dead, he added. It's unclear whether Trump's plans to appear for the sentencing either in person or virtually. The judge left open the possibility of sentencing him when his term in office is done, an alternative that had been suggested by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office. Merchan said he found that option less desirable than imposing sentence prior to January 20th, 2025. The reasons are obvious. However, if the court is unable to impose sentence before defendant takes his oath of office, then this may become the only viable option. I don't know why they found that, and they didn't feel it necessary to add in their reasoning, but why Merchan found it less desirable because you could throw him in jail after he gets out of office. You could get what you want there, Merchan. You could absolutely throw him in jail. There would be nothing to stop you because he can't be president again. He's definitely not going to be running for anything. He's way too old at that point. He's not going to get elected anywhere. Just throw him in jail. It's insane, but that's all to that story. I just find it really, really absurd. This whole thing is insane, and I just wanted to get that out there because I was trying to find, a good, honest source for this. But I just kept going over all these news articles that were just lying about Donald Trump in this entire case. And it's like, what's going on? And surprise, surprise, I stumble upon NBC News, who was the most fair about this. And I can't believe CNN just outright lied about it. Like, I know I say I can't believe it, but I'm trying to act all shocked and awed about this, and I'm really not. It's really kind of run-of-the-mill that CNN lied. But it's still kind of surprising that they just outright lied like that. Like there's what did they say? I forget right off. Let me go back right quick and get to, it said there were face no penalties. Like that's just a blatant lie, and that's coming from the most trusted name in news. the most trusted source in news, or whatever the hell their freaking stupid slogan is. It's ridiculous. But how about them Saints, y'all? Go Saints. Yeah, you gotta love it. This is just great. I love this. This is gonna get overturned on appeal. It's almost guaranteed, right? Unless we get the same court, right? It's not gonna be, but we'd have to get the same judge, in other words, to get this not overturned on appeal. This whole thing is absurd. Most of these cases against Trump are absurd. They're just insane. The only one that held any kind of validity was the documents case, but they took that one way too far, way too fast, right? Like, hey, look, there's a genuine concern there over some of these documents. Like, what the documents were. There's a genuine concern over who has legal right to those documents. Like, I can totally see that. And I'm right there with the government on this one, right? There's certain documents you might not want getting out because Trump isn't NARA. Mar-a-Lago isn't the federal government. They can keep their own documents a lot better. However, there is this thing called the Presidential Records Act. The president does have plenary power. It's just the fact that they got a special counsel, Jack Smith, to go after him. They tried charging him with espionage and all this other garbage. It's like going after him on felony counts. And there were a lot of them, right? This is a dispute you just take to court. You get a judge to decide who gets to keep these records. There should be no criminal charges whatsoever for that. The fact that they charged him criminally is just insane. Just outright insane. It just shows what the Biden administration and Democrats were trying to do. They were trying to keep from happening what is going to happen on January 20th. They were trying everything they could. They broke the freaking law to try to stop Donald Trump. There was nothing, at this point, now we can see it, there was nothing, absolutely nothing going to stop Donald Trump from becoming president. Not Kamala Harris, not Joe Biden, not Jack Smith, not anybody on this earth was going to stop that. Not some assassin from Iran or some nut job from California. None of that was going to stop Donald Trump. None of it. But, this has just been one of the most insane political, presidential election cycles in history, I believe. Just in outright history. And I'm so lucky and I'm glad that I was here for all of it, y'all. But I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section. Does this not blow your mind? Some of this that's going on with all this crap with Trump? Like, they are just bending and breaking laws left and right to try to get this guy, and everything just slips right off of him. And he's like, come at me, bro. That's what Trump is like. He's just sitting over there. Come on, come at me. Try it. I dare you to try it. They don't want nothing, it seems like. But y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.